And he said, there is no good way to do the wrong thing. And I've tried to live my life that way. Most of you in this room already know me. You've seen me in the rain. You've seen me at town halls. You've seen me at protests and rallies and No King Day events and local meetings, party meetings. You know my story. You know my resolve. You know my willingness to do the hard things and have some uncomfortable conversations. You didn't come to know me from mailers and yard signs. You came to know me from showing up. I have sat in the seat of accountability while students told their stories of racism, bullying, and discrimination. I did not turn away because the job required that I sit in that discomfort. I did not minimize it because that is what equity work is all about. It's about making sure that no child in our community feels unseen in their own school. It requires honesty. It requires courage. And it requires leaders who are willing to face the full truth. For 8 months, I have stayed focused on real problems. ICE raids in our communities, rural hospitals are closing, public education under attack, working families struggling while corporate profits soar. Social safety net programs cut while children end up in handcuffs instead of the people who put them in handcuffs. It is easy to stand up here and recite the standard answers. We're going to fix this. We're going to fix this. I'm going to bring some solutions tonight. On the economy, I will introduce legislation lifting the minimum wage to $15 per hour. I will also introduce legislation that closes CEO and corporate tax loopholes, including closing the loophole that allows CEOs to take out untaxed loans against stock options. And most importantly, and with the most immediate impact to our economy, I will introduce legislation that breaks up monopolies in our food supply, and I hope to be working alongside of Clayton Tucker in bringing that a lot of amazing conversation about public education. I sat in the school board for 5 years. I substitute teach in the school that James Tallarico went to as a child. That's my claim to fame with him. And he said I could use that. But on education, I will introduce legislation prohibiting federal dollars from funding voucher schemes that siphon money from private schools. That is how you stop vouchers. You say federal dollars cannot be used for voucher schemes. On healthcare, I will introduce legislation preventing the same corporation from owning the hospital, the insurance company, and the pharmaceutical pipeline. I will introduce legislation prohibiting insurers from denying physician-directed treatment. If the doctor says they need it, the patient is going to get it. We need affordable housing, so I will introduce legislation preventing conglomerates like BlackRock from buying up entire neighborhoods and driving up rent. Okay. Home ownership, like has been said already, is a pathway to generational stability. The working class deserves a shot at that generational stability. Something else that we need to do immediately, and I will introduce legislation the minute I get to Washington, has to do with our social safety nets, including public health. I said this last time I stood on this stage. Public health in the state of Texas is grant funded. When those grants get cut, our social safety net collapses. I will introduce legislation that permanently funds health, public health at the state level if we have to. I will introduce legislation to shore up our public health shortfalls. Folks, these are solutions. This isn't spectacle. Now let's address some of the noise. I left the school board in 2021. I legally and proudly changed my name in 2024. I am proud of my name, by the way. I decided to run for Congress June of last year, not 8 weeks ago, not 18 weeks ago, 8 months ago. I I started this journey. I am proud of my board service. I am honored to carry my maternal family's name. And I am proud to be running to build a community where people do not have to sell plasma to work 3 jobs to make ends meet. When I served on the school board, I fought to create the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, called DEI. That is documented. My advocacy for marginalized students is documented. The votes are documented. The recordings are public. I also opposed labeling our district as teaching critical race theory. That was accurate. CRT is a graduate level legal framework. It is not a curriculum. DEI is a curriculum. It is a choice. It is an intentional ability for folks to be seen, heard, and treated with dignity and respect. And I take you back to those students that I watched sharing their stories. The Office of DEI was to fix that, was to provide us a pathway, was to provide subject matter expertise on how we address the issue of racism in our schools. CRT has no place in public education. And yes, I did say that in order to see others, I did not have to hate myself. And that is a true statement. That is a statement that was created by the Republicans to chastise people that look like me, or looking out for people that don't look like me. Oh, you must hate yourself. You must hate white people. That is not what DEI is about. That statement rejects their false narrative. Equity does not require self-loathing. It requires honesty. It requires maturity. It requires the courage to examine systems and the commitment and resources to fix them when they're broken. Those positions are not contradictory. They're consistent. I have stood in the fire for that consistency. I have paid a price for refusing theatrics from either side. I have taken hits, and I stayed focused on the work. Now, that said, here's the choices that we have. Are we going to be a party that builds, like Mark alluded to, or a party that squanders this opportunity over sound bites? Are we going to organize sound health care, wages, education, and rural access? Or are we going to allow internal noise to distract us while the Republicans attempt to consolidate power once and for all? I'm not interested in spectacle. I'm interested in governing. If you want someone who will fight the Republicans with discipline, facts, and strategy, I'm your guy. If you want someone who will stand up for marginalized communities, disentangle the rhetoric, and speak plainly without apology, I've already done that. My record stands. My integrity stands. And my commitment to you all stands. What I'm asking now is that you all stand with me. We have work to do. My name is Jay Gordon Mitchell, and I'm proud of my name.